Actually, let's talk about Timesplitters first, and then we'll go to Super Chats before Square at E3, because Timesplitters is coming back. It's back. Well, it's not back yet, but it's coming back. Eventually. I mean, people have been trying to revive Timesplitters for so long, since 2005 when we had Future Perfect. Future Perfect is still good, by the way. It's a shame that it came out at the end of the PS2 life rather than like the earlier part of like the 360 and stuff, because then it probably would have ran a bit better, looked better, but it also may have even been picked up to work on the Series X for all we know. But it's an original Xbox game that who knows, maybe they'll go back and play around with. But it's been a while, and Deep Silver posted up. This was almost at 1 a.m. by the way. What's their time zone?
It was UK time, so I think it was
it was first thing in the morning.
Okay. Because this is from Deep Silver. Free Radical Design, a new Deep Silver studio. So they are reforming the old studio, and they brought in some of the veteran developers around Timesplitters as well. They said, "You asked and we listened. We have been working on plans to bring the Timesplitters franchise back to life and are pleased to let you know that we are setting up a new Deep Silver development studio to do just that. Free Radical Design is reforming and will be headed up by industry and Timesplitters veterans."
Dr. Doke is back.
This is exciting stuff, but they haven't even started development on it yet.
No, and they don't begin for another couple of months. They're going to put out a hiring campaign in another few weeks on their website. So this is a game that's not going to actually enter development until late this year. So we have a solid 4 or 5, maybe 6 years until this game releases.
So I put out a poll on the community tab for the channel because I was curious to see how many people have played Timesplitters. There were quite a few votes on it. I can actually pull it up here, and it's expected, but it's also kind of alarming. There's 61,000 votes, and 70% said that they've never tried them. They've never played a Timesplitters game. Never. So I think if it's going to be, what do we think, at 3 years minimum to get this thing done, 4 years maybe. I mean, this is Embracer Group, right? That's at the top of all of this. They have like a ridiculous amount of studios, and they obviously show the ability to at least remaster a game, even if it's bare minimum. Sometimes they seem to be able to do it across all these different platforms. Go back and get one of the older Timesplitters and just move it up. Just do a remaster of it.
Yeah.
And get people introduced back to it, because you could put it out as a $15 or $20 purchase.
I recently replayed all of them, and I would say if they do that, to only do it to Future Perfect, because
that's the one I would do.
Man, the first two games, not as much, so
I would absolutely grab Future Perfect right away. That's probably the one that they I assume would do. Maybe they'd do Timesplitters 2, but I feel like Future Perfect, because it doesn't have a 2 next to it. It's not like, did I miss the first one or something? And it's not just Timesplitters 1, which is a good game for its time, but like, I don't know how gracefully it would have aged for now. Yeah, Future Perfect, I think, is the one.
Look at that cover art. You can't even tell what the hell this is about.
Hold on, wait. We got MVG here. MVG can do it. He can get Future Perfect up.
Yeah, I'm available. Deep Silver, hit me up.
What do you think? What do you think about this, MVG? Were you excited to see Timesplitters come back?
Yes, I was. I am very excited about it. I mean, look, expectations in check and everything, because yes, this is their intent, right? This is not them saying, hey, it's coming out anytime soon. So they got to put the team together. They got to get that. As far as I know, they don't even have a studio yet, so they're like, they got to get some office space, and they got to build the team, and so there's obviously a long road ahead of them. I would expect this to drop at some point mid-generation on these current gen consoles, so it's going to be a while, but I do think that it's a very exciting announcement, and I'm looking forward to it. I think a lot of people do want to see Timesplitters come back, and it was a shame how kind of the series just stopped. And I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a Timesplitters 4 that was in development for the 360 and the PS3 that ultimately ended up getting cancelled. I don't remember why it got cancelled. So,
Timesplitters 4, right? Isn't that what it's like code name?
Timesplitters 4, yeah. So it's really cool that they're coming back with this. Steve Ellison and David Doak are on board. Maybe they can get Graham Norgate, who did the music for the games, which the music in those games is like amazing. So, if they can get the band back together, if you will, it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. But I'm excited. I think it's a really cool announcement for sure.
I mean, 2005 was 16 years ago. So like I saw someone just now pop up with a super chat, so I might have been too young. Yeah, I mean we see it all the time. People cycle in obviously into gaming as they get old enough to pick up a controller and start playing. So Timesplitters, it hasn't been around for a long time. So yeah, there's gonna be a lot of people. It's gonna be first time. That's why I feel like they might not get a collection, but like just a remaster. Grab one of the Timesplitters, bring it up. Just do that.
Well, I have a theory that that there's a huge chunk gaming as it becomes more and more mainstream. I feel like 80% of gamers that are the major consumers now started gaming in the last 10 years. So I feel like to these people, it's an all new project. If you put a low enough price tag and it sounds cool enough and boomers are talking about it, they're probably going to buy it. And to them, it's new. So yeah, package future perfect. People will still, that game is still funny. That's what kind of shocked me is I feel like playing old games with jokes age the worst. It is still so funny. That game really works.
The other thing about Future Perfect is it's expensive now. Like if you look at buying it on the GameCube or the PS2 or even on the Xbox OG, it's up there in price. So
that one cost me some money on the GameCube. I'll tell you that. Like, it wasn't a cheap purchase.
Definitely not.
Get. But like even if Microsoft was like, hey, it's backwards compatible now. It's up on the shop. You can go pick it up too because you can get it digitally then, and that would make it. I think they sell those at like what $10 like digitally for these when they do it. Yeah, why not? Put that up there and at least do it that way. But otherwise, I would definitely buy a physical copy of Future Perfect if they remaster that thing. Absolutely. That'd be really. Nate, you seemed excited about this.
Yeah, I enjoyed the Timesplitters game, and I was actually just reading up why Timesplitters 4 was canceled, and we get to assign the blame to the amazing PlayStation 3 exclusive known as Haze. That was so subpar and forgettable that publishers didn't want to give Free Radical a chance of making Timesplitters 4 because
it was all Haze's fault. You know what?
Yeah.
Did they really blame Haze? Because no way.
Yep. Haze was a big reason they didn't want to take the gamble of doing a Timesplitters 4 because Haze was so mediocre.
Haze has nothing to do with Timesplitters.
Crytek, I think Crytek bought Free Radical, right?
Yes.
They bought them, and then who you call it came in, basically Embracer Group, essentially Deep Silver, came in and bought the Timesplitters IP from Crytek. Crytek is having issues with like payroll and basically just surviving, so they had to start liquidating IPs, and that's where it ended up. But it's interesting to see how this has bounced around and now ended up with Embracer Group, Deep Silver, and reforming, bringing everyone back, or most people back, I would say.
Yeah, hopefully they do allocate the appropriate budget to really let Doak and the team create the product of their vision.
You know what's interesting? You know what's interesting? You say that, Nate. There's a game that's coming out this week, and technically it's from it's Embracer Group, THQ Nordic, and all of that. It's Biomutant. Can't talk about it yet, but
plenty of controversy around it this week, though.
Oh, that's because it's like PS5 1080p. Hey, if Sony's backwards compatibility was like how Microsoft's is, then it probably wouldn't be an issue. But it's the way you said that, where it's like, I hope they give them the budget. Biomutant was delayed a couple of times, and it's like 20 people working on it, but they seem to give them the time to do it. And I mean, I think people would be surprised by the game this week when it releases.
Yeah, and I would even take that further, Nate, and suggest, and I don't know this, but I would suggest that if David Doak, Steve Ellis, and the gang is getting back together to do this, and they were given a fairly substantial bag to do it, I don't think they would step in with a shoestring budget, because I mean they're just setting themselves up for failure at that point.
Right.
They've been around. They've been around long enough to know what is.
What do they do with Timesplitters though? In let's say, 2024.
That's the big question: is how do you really approach a modern Timesplitters? Because what the games were, I don't know if you could recreate that today.
It's mostly you're playing a character that travels around through time, but it's mostly just different stages, and it's set up sort of like an arena shooter similar to Doom, right? Painkiller.
It's like
Painkiller was just newer Timesplitters.
It was basically like everyone who played GoldenEye on the N64 Perfect Dark, when the PS2 came out and that was all the talk and everything, Timesplitters was the game everyone was playing then.
They even reused a lot of the sound effects.
There have been other games that have come out that have done similar things where it's just different themes, I guess, for levels where you're fighting different types of enemies that do different things with different weapons. There have been a lot of them. It's just they haven't really been noticed because I don't know if that genre is that big, and I don't know if the name Timesplitters is going to carry it anyway.
Oh, somebody said in the chat, what if they make it a free-to-play game?
Why would no
on cell phones with
ban that person in
No,
chat.
Evan, don't wish this for the universe.
I mean, a lot of these companies are going towards free-to-play models, and maybe Embracer's like, hey, let's get our own free-to-play game. Let's make it just like these flashy Fortnite type games.
No, let's not do that.
Yeah, the opposite of that.
Return of Timesplitters, and now we're going down this dark alley of potential bad business decisions.
I know, right?
How do we ruin it?
We're fast traveling with amiibos. We're getting a free-to-play Timesplitters game is all over the place.
Dear God. And we still have to talk about the Final Fantasy game.
Oh, no. You thought you were getting the whole Final Fantasy VII remake at once. Gosh. I'm looking forward to it, though. It's going to be a while, so hopefully they have something cool in mind to tide everyone over rather than a trailer at every E3 for the next 4 years. We'll see there.